I love to ski.
And I love to party.
And you can't ski and party.
If you don't ski and party.
There are four of us that are at National Academy. And next weekend will be the last weekend that I run for this calendar year. We'll reconvene again back in June. I'll let you know when. Obviously, we got some holidays we need to dodge. Father's Day is one of them. July 4th is always an important holiday for everybody too. So I want to make sure that we get what we can get in and then have the biggest group that we can have. So, like I said, looks like it's going to be a limited number today. That's fine. It's the end of the season. People are winding down. I don't know about you, but I got like 5 pairs of skis downstairs that I need to tune. I should say I have 4 pairs of rock skis now. I need to fix for this next year.
Hopefully not for next year. It'll be better for you. I know you had a.
I'm gonna have a choice of rock skis to use early in the year next year. Yes. I've had 2 pairs of skis that had stone ground, and they came back and said, "Don't bring them back." One pair I hit a rock. They're my 85s, 181, 8,500 foot, and I hit a rock on the tip, and I mean, I could tell the base is like paper thin because it went immediately gave me a core shot on the tip, not even where not even underneath, but where above. So my skis are in bad shape right now. So, but quickly before we get started, what are your goals? What do you guys want to achieve for next year? I know, alone is pretty obvious because we've been together for a while. We're almost married, it feels like. Jerry Ann is back, even from a real quickie divorce, and now she's back again.
But I'm not picking up your dirty socks. So let's be
I
very clear.
I'm pretty good about putting them in the hamper most of the time. But so I pretty much know that what Jerry Ann's goals. Ralph, you're working on your level 3, right?
No, level two.
Level 2, okay.
Although I'm not really working on it. I'm gradually moving in that direction. But one thing I would like to mention, Chuck, since I started this year and I've tried to become as much as I could, thanks to Jerry Ann, right? She got me connected when I was at Killing. Anyway, uh, we haven't done much in a sense of moguls. I mean, there were a couple of sessions where we talked a little bit about bumps, but I really would like to spend more personally, I'd like to spend more time in that area.
Okay, cool. Good. Um, Jerry Ann, what are you looking for? I know you're working on your level 3.
Yeah, so I finally committed to like really doing the level 3. So Ilona and I are going to train together. And
Nice.
so to me, it's biomechanics and really seeing how the connections are made. And I need to keep, I mean, like when I watch movement analysis, it doesn't come quickly. So I know that by practice, it will come quickly.
Right,
So
right.
that's my commitment. Try to do that. My problem is I work at a golf shop on Sunday nights, so I may be interspitting, but I am always watching the replays.
No, that's all right. That's all right. And Todd, you're working on your level 2.
Yep.
Good. And then Ursula, what are you working on? I know she just kind of listens in. That's all right. Patty, you're working on your level 3. How can I help you with your level 3? Because I know that you're in the East and the exam changes next year.
Actually, it changed this year.
Oh, it changed this year?
Yeah, to a 3-day exam.
Okay. Some folks ran into that, some folks did not.
Yeah.
Some folks were still doing teach and MA together.
Yep. No, it's a 3-day exam.
Yeah,
I
so
would
you'll
like,
have MA and you'll have teach
yeah.
separate, just like we do here in the West.
So I'm concentrating on MA right now. And like Jerry Ann, it just doesn't come fast enough.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when you do see it, it's kind of like more along the lines of what we see wrong instead of what's going on. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And Ralph, you're working on your level 2. What are your needs this year?
Well, certainly MAs, but I want to focus on moguls, as I
And the
mentioned,
bumps. Yeah.
just the bumps. They're definitely a
Okay.
weak area for me. One
Yeah,
of
I
the,
think it's a weak area for a lot of folks. It is. And Mike, what are your needs?
I've been working on my level 3 for 20 years now.
So you're this close.
Yeah, I'm that close, and I've always been that close, but I've
Uh-huh.
not been able to put it together. I've been
Okay.
able to help others get their pin. I'm going to put this together this year. I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Well, I'm granted it's not going to get easier either. It's going to be it's harder. I always call it the escalating scale. It's like every year it's just a little bit harder and a little bit harder and a little bit harder.
No arguments for me. I passed the skiing once already, and I'm not even. I'm way better than I was then. And
I said that too. Last year when I took the RMT entrance exam and here in Rockies they got something before you can even get into the trainer status or start going for your trainer status, they got something called Rocky Mountain Trainer entrance exam, which is you're supposed to prove that you can ski at a level 3 level. And I know that I skied better than I did the year before, and I did not pass. And
uh-huh.
then this year, I got about halfway through looking, I was looking skyward going, why am I doing this? And I go, I know, I just, what am I going to possibly get out of this in the long term? And then, of course, I passed it. So now I'm stuck in the system.
Right.
So I got to keep going now. So, all right, cool. So we got more bumps, more of everything, more biomechanics. Definitely want to talk in that language as much as possible. I'm already working on a program for next year where we can start talking about, the references. Again, I think the references are really, really important. Helps us kind of guide us. There are also some other little things too, but I got to be careful because in a lot of ways, what happens is it tends to muddy the waters, and people get focused on one or two things. And I've noticed this. This is my 4th year doing this, so I've noticed that when people get stuck on concepts, they're like, "This is the thing," and or "This is the thing," and it's not really. It's kind of like the whole piece. And so I want to kind of make sure that we talk about blends whenever we can. That seems to be like the new thing, but at the same time, we need to silo those pieces out that are really important and use our references, for pressure references are going to be, the back and the shin angles, and it's going to be how much you tip and where you tip and that short leg, long leg thing. And for rotation, it's going to be how the lower body rotates under the upper body instead of the upper body causing the lower body to rotate. And then for edging, it's the lower leg tipping versus whole body tipping versus some, one leg going out and doing all those are references that we can look at and say, give us an idea of what we're trying to see, and make some sense of it. But and practice, as much as we possibly can, we need to start talking about what we see and trying to be as complete as we possibly can. Ski description, a body description, and how the two of them work together. And then don't forget the prescription of change. How would you make a change to a movement in the body that's going to affect what the ski's doing, and then accurately talk about how that is done? That's the key right there. Is that for MA is trying to be as objective as possible and not turning it into error detection and correction, which all of us like to do because it's very easy to do. I see something wrong. I need to fix what's wrong. But we don't want to actually do that. We want to be able to look at the whole piece. All right. So let's start with our first skier. let's just make it easy. And I've got a skier already queued, and it was the one that I sent in the email. And oh, by the way, Patty, do you have my email?
Yes.
Do you? Send me an email so I have your email address.
Okay.
And the same thing with you, Mike, please. You have my email address? You're on mute, buddy. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, I just take care of that. I'm assuming it's on the Zoom invitation.
It is on the Zoom invitation, yes.
Okay, I will.
So definitely send me your emails. That way you get onto the email list. And then that's how I generally communicate and let people know what's going on each week. Okay.
Okay.
Here is beautiful, wonderful Winter Park. You can see that there hardly was any skiers today. It's because it's 6 o'clock. And here's our skier. And can everybody see this all right?
Yes.
Cool. So somebody give me a fundamental. Any fundamental. I don't care what one it is. Just
Edging.
edging. Cool. So I'm looking at a skier that's on, looks like a blue slope. And the first things I'm looking at is where the highest edge angles are going to be and how that the skier is creating edges. And one of the first things I notice is that a lot of the highest edge angles are late in the turn, but they do kind of start a little bit early. I mean, it starts around the apex. It's not completely a hockey stop at the end of the turn. Would everybody agree to seeing that?
Yes.
Does that make sense? All right. And then the next thing I'm going to look at is those references. And a reference for this is there lower leg tipping, or is the predominantly the legs or the body and the legs in one line and she's basically tipping from one side to the other?
She's tipping from one side to the other.
Yeah.
There's not an angulation in her skiing. There's not a separation necessarily of upper and lower body.
Well, there is
Well,
there
there
is a
is at the
little
bottom of
bit,
the
isn't
turn.
there?
A
Just a
little bit,
Yeah.
but I think that the edge angles are created predominantly through inclination.
Yeah, I would agree. Anybody else want to dispute that?
Is it flowing or is it jerky for everybody?
It's jerky. The
Okay.
the
Let me
video
shrink
is
it down a
jerky.
little bit. Does that
Yeah.
help any? Oh, you know what? And I always like to do this too. I should be putting this in the chat also so that you can click on it and watch it in your own browser. So I just put the link in the chat so that you can look at it. This is exactly the same one that was on the invite. So what are some other things that we could look at as a strategy for determining what's happening with this skier?
I don't understand what you mean.
Yeah. So I mean, we're looking at 3 phases of the turn, right?
Yeah. The shape of the turn.
And we're kind of looking at, if we're going for level 3, we should be looking at differences from one side to the other. How is the right hand's turns different than the left hand turns? These are all references, by the way. These are kind of like global references. So we have 3 phases, symmetry from side to side, and then symmetry from top to bottom.
When she starts her left-footed turn, there's like I don't want to say an upward motion, but her body becomes very straight up and down compared to her other skiing.
Cool. So there's a little bit of a pop.
Yeah.
It's not very much, is it?
Hmm.
But that's a good look, right? Let's stick with another strategy that I might use also, that I like to use a lot. This is more of the higher level 3 RMT level stuff. But instead of looking at it from one turn, the complete side of one turn, the initiation, shaping, and finish of one side, maybe we go from apex to apex. Because I might be looking more as a higher level looker, as looking at the initiation through the transition. So it would be from apex of one turn all the way through to the apex of the next turn. And I would be concentrating a lot of my energy and my looky-loo on that transition phase. And the transition phase is loosely defined as when do you decide to start a new turn consciously into the middle of as soon as the skis start to engage on the other turn. That's the loose definition. So this skier, I'm watching this skier come down, and from apex to apex, these are short radius turns, short radius BPs, basic parallels is what they call them. They're a little bit more of a performance style turn. But what I'm seeing is that from apex to apex, there's a pretty quick transition from one set of edges to the other through the transition. Agree, disagree?
Agree.
Agree?
I'd agree.
Yeah. And that kind of would align with the idea that how she is creating edging, that somebody's already noticed, is that there's not a lot of angles being built, especially early in a turn. And
I'm
because
seeing
go
I'm
ahead.
seeing a fair amount of pressure on the inside ski. Um,
Yeah.
taking away from the power of the outside ski.
Okay. And
Not a whole lot of
what would
leg length
be
change.
what would be an indication of that would be happening?
Um,
Because I don't disagree. We're
I
switch. That's kind of like a hard left to another fundamental. But I think that in this case, it kind of closely linked. But what are
I'm
some?
still looking at I'm studying the jerky one because the one on the link just keeps going away on me.
Oh, go ahead and right click anywhere on the screen, and you can say loop is the very first thing.
Oh,
Okay.
And then it will continuously loop like it is for me.
Okay.
That way you can watch it in real time.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it even better. I'm going to do even more. I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to slow it down to half speed. But Mike, you kind of brought it up. Like I said, we're suddenly switching to another fundamental. But you're talking about ski to ski pressure.
Is right.
And how do we know that she has I think she has more weight on the outside ski than the inside ski. But I will agree with you that I feel like she has an inappropriate amount of weight on the inside ski,
Right.
especially early in the turn.
And I would agree. Um, and also I'm slow. I've slowed it down. Also at completion
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. So let's go back to edging real quick. What would we like to see this skier do in her edging? Ideally, what would the skier like? What would we like her to do? Her, they, them. I'm assuming it's a female.
We'd like to see edge angles controlled by a combination of inclination and angulation,
Cool.
and then like to see her legs steering independently under a stable upper body.
Sure. That's two fundamentals, though. Let's just stick with edging. And those are the broad strokes, right? What would we like to see and when would we like to see angulation being built? Because what is she doing now?
She,
At the initiation of her turn, she has an inclination to the inside ski to
Mhm.
put the skis on edge.
Yeah, she's just kind of letting the skis move out away from her. And then she's letting them come across and then move away from her again, right?
Yeah,
Chuck, I am seeing her sort of
swishing.
push off.
You see a push off?
Yeah. Not I have to go to the loop because this is really slow looking at what you're displaying, but it's like she's making the turn by kind of pushing up instead of leaning a little bit more.
Okay. So she's moving up. How's that affecting her edging?
It's washing it out.
Okay.
She's pushing um, to slow her speed down at the end of the turn.
Okay. So what you're saying is that the engagement is happening later. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
her
too
turn
late.
her turns to the left. Her skis actually slide out from her, so there's like a skidding movement at the arc
All right,
at the
cool. Now
apex.
we're getting somewhere. So there's a pivot that's happening at the top of the turn.
Okay, is that what that
So,
is?
well, I mean, look, I'm trying to decipher what you're saying. So she's moving the skis this way, and then she's moving the skis this way, right?
Yeah, but I don't see symmetry. When she's making her left turns, there's more of her heels skidding out than there is when she
Okay.
makes right turns.
When she goes to the right, it seems like that. Okay, so the shape of the turn is different on the right hand turns than it is on the left hand turns.
Yes.
Cool. I like that. And it also seems like the turns going to the right are longer than the turns going to the left.
Yes.
Yeah,
And it also looks like the skis are steering more going to the right than they are to the left. And for those of you who are uninitiated, steering is a rotational outcome of turning the skis that are on edge. So what we like to see is the tips move, not the tails move. Tips should move through. That gives me an indication that there's some kind of steering action that's happening. But going back to the edging and the ideal, when would we like to start seeing lower leg tipping? When would that be happening?
Early in initiation.
Early in initiation.
Agreed.
Okay, cool.
Chuck, can I get another clarifying question there? Sometimes I hear you
Sure.
guys talk about, I hear you say lateral separation. Is that long leg, short leg? Because she needs a little bit more shorter inside leg, I think.
So separation is actually a visual thing that we like to see, right? And lateral separation is this happening on both sides. Okay.
Okay.
Without separation, you're going to be seeing a lot of this, where the legs and the upper body are going to be kind of traveling as a unit, right?
So
She has
inclination.
a little bit more lateral separation on one side than she does the other.
Agreed.
Like
Uh, de-
that's
de-
a
Definitely.
little bit more separation right there.
Yeah. On her right turn, she's got more upper lower body separation than she
On
does.
her right-footed turn, she does just a
Yeah.
little bit more. There's a little bit of rotational separation that allows for that. But when she gets to this side, notice that the shoulders and the knees and the hips are all following the skis.
Yeah.
And without that rotational separation, it's very difficult to have lateral separation. It can be done, it's just very awkward. But when she gets to here, you can see that the knees are pointed in a different direction than the chest. But when she goes to this side, the knees kind of follow the chest. Well, there's a little bit there, I guess, at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah.
I also think for pressure, she has more pressure on the tails than on the tips. So she's not extending the pressure throughout the length of the ski.
And give me an indication of that. So what are you seeing the skis do that tell you that that's happening?
Well, the snow spray is happening toward the back
Okay.
instead of right underneath her feet.
Okay.
But it looks like the tips are like up in the air a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
That would be a better indication.
having the tips up in the air.
Snow always comes off the tails of the skis.
Okay.
Yeah. I like it when I think you can use that as a clue. I wouldn't use that in a description. What I would say is if the tips are doing this,
Yeah.
or they come up at any time, or anything like that. Because honestly, when I watch her ski, I see I see some tip engagement happening
Right
here.
there. Yeah.
And that tells me that she's pretty well balanced over the ski. Would I
Oh,
like her to be more forward at this point? Yes, I would. Because I don't think she's all the way, her foot is in front of her belt line, right? And she's not even reached the apex yet. Now she's at the apex, and it's pretty obvious she's still kind of behind. So I would look at the references, and the reference angles for this particular skier are going to be, let's get her right here to where she's going by us again. Okay. Right there. Okay. That's not bad.
That's
And the
not
reason
bad.
why I say that is the shin angle,
And the torso angle are pretty much the same.
the torso angle, yeah, the upper body angle, this angle here. Oh, why did it click blue? Come on now. Here we go. Let's try it. Yellow. There we go. All right. We got a shin angle that's here and a body angle that's here. And they're fairly parallel, right? Ideally, I would like to see a little bit more waist flexion than, a little bit more flexion at the waist so that maybe it's a little bit more like this. This is kind of like a Tom Gelly influence that I have. I'd like to see a little bit more flexion there, but I don't necessarily want to see a ton of flexion here in the knees. I would almost like to see her a little bit more open in the knees. That would allow her to be more here to here instead of here to here. Does that make sense? Ideally, but this is pretty good. And the reason why I know it's pretty good is because I do see some engagement happening in the tips. But she could do better. And that would also unlock her ability to tip and turn her legs, which is not something that she does very well.
Chuck, how would you rate her ability?
This came out of the RMT group, so I'm going to say that she probably passed her level 3. It's pretty good skiing. It's not bad skiing.
It was really good skiing, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad skiing. But there are some things that are not very evident here. One of them is I don't see a lot of lower leg tipping that's happening. I don't see a lot of leg rotation, especially on her right hand turns. The turns where she's turning her left leg. This is a little bit better because the skis are going a little bit different direction in her upper body, so she's creating some separation. But when she gets to here, what happened? It's gone, right? Because her upper body and her knees and everything are pointed along the length of the ski. And it doesn't really change. She doesn't really get a lot of leg rotation going on. And what's happening is at the end of the turn, when she goes from this side, here's that pivot that I was talking about, Jerry Ann. Watch the skis.
Right there.
Right? So the skis aren't engaged
Okay.
for a long period of time. From this is the top of the initiation all the way through this is the end of the initiation. Now we're in the shaping phase, and the skis still have not engaged. Now they're finally, and when I mean engaged for Mike and Patty, engagement means grip. When the skis take you in a new direction, when you finally have achieved grip in the snow. Okay. And she's still coming back. She's coming straight at us for a long time. I mean, look at her feet. Her feet are moving right at us for a long period of time. Then finally she gets grip, and now it's taking her into the new turn, right?
Yeah.
It's moved her in a new direction.
So she
This
gets
is
that grip.
extremely common.
So she gets her grip after the apex. Is that correct?
Pretty close to apex. She's a little bit more skilled. She's a ski instructor, right? Hopefully she's a level 3 because she's in the RMT group. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen. I mean, no engagement. Then finally we're achieving grip, right?
Yeah.
That's a long time. That was like, how many ski lengths was that? That's 1, 2, 3 ski lengths she went with no grip. That's a long time.
Yeah.
However, if we could get her to tip her legs earlier in the turn, get the skis on edge, is that going to help with the pivot, or is that going to hurt the pivot?
It will. If it's done right, it will take the pivot out completely.
Right, exactly, because it's really, really hard to rotate a edge ski, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So if we could get her to tip her legs continuously through apex or through the transition like this, using her lower legs, and get the skis on edge before she starts to turn them, then she will have a much, much better kind of pressure profile. She'll have higher edge angles. She'll have earlier edge angles, and she'll be gripping the snow earlier. which means all the pressure won't be happening at the end of the turn.
And the easy way to do that is while the skis are flat in that transition, lift the tail of the new inside ski.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah. So you're going right to a task, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some other things I want to address with her. I mean, how many of you know the 6 common threads by heart, right? Lona's got them memorized. She's got them tattooed on her side. The 6 common threads. So we have 3 upper body threads, or 2 upper body threads. We have 2 lower body threads, and we have 2 ski performance threads, right? Upper body threads are stable upper body, allows for lower body mobility. That proximal distal is what I like to call it. The second one is maintaining counter through the transition. That anticipation piece where the body is pointed more down the hill than the skis are. Then we have 2 lower body. Nobody's gonna talk about them, are they? All right. So we have
Well,
2 lower body
give us
ones.
a second. Give
All
us
right.
a second. Hold on. Legs flex and extend independent of each other to move the center of mass from turn to turn. Laterally
From
Yes.
turn to turn, right? Yeah. So this has got to happen too, right?
That's
Right.
a long leg, short leg, right?
That's a long leg, short leg. Yes. But remember, it's not just long leg, short leg. In that particular, those common threads are not tied to individual fundamentals. So not only is it this, but this.
Oh,
We
the
have to
rotation.
have some
Okay.
kind of rotational separation to create lateral separation. And part of that piece of that long leg, short leg, that flexion extension,
Right.
is to allow us to have rotational separation so we can have lateral separation. Those are big concepts.
Well, also a countered relationship needs to occur at the finish of the turn, which we don't see here with her.
Yeah, I mean, we do a little bit, right?
A little bit.
We
Yeah.
do just a little bit. Here, let's get to the end of the turn here. Oh, no, what did you do that? Come on now.
That's right. Keep going.
When we get to the, what are you doing? So all of a sudden it's fighting with me. All right. So when we get to, this is a good one turn here, because when we get to this spot right there, there's a little bit of upper body, lower body separation.
Yes.
However, I gotta say this with a caveat, because where is the separation happening? The separation is actually happening in the thorax, right underneath the logo. Notice that her hips are traveling with her skis. So her upper body's twisted and kind of a little bit this way. And remember, technically in alpine skiing, the pelvis is part of the lower body, or the upper body, so it should be pointed with your upper body. But this is again very, very common in women. I've been working with Stephanie Parker late this year about, and she does exactly the same thing as here. Is that when she extends, she also twists the upper body, and the upper body primarily being around the thorax area, and that's very, very easy to do. And what that causes is that relationship of having ability to long leg, short leg, and create early edging is compromised because you're not really aligned with your upper body.
So
Again,
Chuck,
these are great big concepts, not minutia. Yes, ma'am.
earlier you clarified steering is a
Uh-huh.
rotational outcome that comes
Yes.
from turning the skis that are on edge, and
Yes.
there's rotation in that. So is steering would
When we
steering be an example of this common thread? Legs extend and independent of each other to move the center of mass from turn to turn?
No, it would not necessarily. It wouldn't be. It would. Again, I want to be careful about tying up fundamentals to these common threads. because that it's really easy to do that. It's really easy to think about that, but there are lots of little pieces that have to be working in order in all the fundamentals in order to have accuracy in the common threads. But the common threads are really useful pieces to look at
Right.
because we see them in good skiing. You know,
So the
another
common
common
threads are
thread. Huh? Go ahead.
the common threads are more about a blend of fundamentals.
They are the blend, and
Okay.
technically they're for the you haven't heard about them probably in the last year or so because they've suddenly like fallen out of vogue, and I don't know why because I think they're really really important. And it's how I look at high level skiing, especially. But it is for the blended tasks, the integrated tasks, wedge turns, wedge Christies, basic parallels, and medium radius turns. All should be showing a blend of all of those.
Okay.
And you know, one good example of one that may not show up in other areas is, well, there's two technically. One of them is both skis stay on the snow at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is both skis tip, steer, turn into, I'm sorry, either turn or steer into the new turn at the same time. I just completely jacked that all up. So let me say it again. Both skis turn, steer into the new turn simultaneously.
Yeah. Cool.
And that's a ski performance one, right? Both skis stay on the snow, both skis steer into the new turn simultaneously. The other lower body one is shin angles are to remain parallel throughout the turn or have similar shin angle just, and I don't mean just fore aft, I mean side to side too. And we can look at this skier here and we can look at her and say, hey,
So
how
wait,
are her
wait,
shin
wait.
angles?
So that common thread is the ankles work in unison, creating matching forward angles.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
But again, this is again that everybody always points to fore aft on that one, but it's not just fore aft.
It's lateral as well.
It's lateral also. It's really important to
Okay.
remember that our tipping motion also comes from the ankles
Gotcha.
because ankles do this and they do this.
Okay. Yeah, your script says laterally and sagittally, so that makes sense.
Sagittally,
Okay.
yes.
That's what your script says. That's where I
Right,
got it from. Your
laterally,
script.
they move in all directions, right? Unfortunately,
Yeah.
this is 360-degree turns. Yes. And this gear is pretty good, right? I see fairly, if it's more on one side than the other, but most shin angles are fairly blended, parallel in the turn, like right there. That's pretty parallel. That's pretty parallel. It's not parallel all the time. I see a little bit of leg separation at the initiation, which tells me there's also some issues with release. But as we watch her go by, right there, that's pretty uniform too.
Yep.
Pretty uniform, right? They're tipped the same amount.
Would you ask her if she has room in her ski boots since you could see the back of her ski boot through her pants?
That would be a good question, yes. I see in most of her turns, the tips do simultaneously tip into the turn, but not all the turns. And some of the turns is a little bit of a 1-2. Questions? This is a lot.
So when we look at a skier like this, should
Uh-huh.
we start? Should we start with the common threads?
You can. You can. I do. I will
Okay.
look at you. All right. Let me stop the share real quick. All right. This is you and me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my process. Okay. Because my process is a little bit different than most other people's. And I'm not saying that I want you to copy my process because my process has been built over years. Right. And so I have a lot of command of like different kinds of movements. So my process looks at overall picture, the overall thing. What is the things that stand out? And I've talked about these in the past, right? What is the first move, right? Ideally, in skiing, there are no quick movements. We don't want to see somebody move quickly from one side to the other, right? We want to see them move smoothly. And there's almost always a first move. Is there a shoulder turn? Is there a shoulder dip? Does one hand go down? Is there a rotational push off? Is there something that moves them from one turn to the next? That's my first move. That's the first thing I look at. And then the second thing I look at, and this is about outcomes and tactics, are they defensive or offensive? Right. And I mean, as you
Okay.
guys instruct, you probably know the difference between an offensive skier and a defensive skier. Because a defensive skier is going to be like this and
Yeah.
this and
Yeah.
this. And they got to get from this to this. Right. And an offensive skier is going to be very round shape and moving down the hill. They are not afraid to go down the hill. That's a tactic that I got from Jen Metz. So Larry Murdoch gave me the what moves first tactic.
Okay.
What's the pole doing? Is there a pole plan? Is there a shift? Is there a outside leg moving first? Is there a shoulder moving? Is there something like that? That's the first thing I'm gonna look at. I'm looking at the overall picture. And then the last one is oh no. I
That's
forgot my
okay.
own
It'll come to
process.
you.
Huh? Yeah,
It'll
give
come
me
to
a
you.
second or two.
Is it how the skis move through the snow?
Yeah, that usually how the skis move through the snow is like that offensive versus defensive,
Okay.
right? If they're tracking through the snow, I know it's pretty offensive,
Yep.
right? If there's a whole lot of please help me slow down at the end of a turn, I'm pretty sure that's going to be very defensive turns. Okay. Oh, the last one's going to be about their what are they trying to achieve? What is the outcome they're trying to do? And this
Like
speaks
their
to
intent.
their
Their intent.
that
Their
speaks to
intent.
their intent. What are they trying to do? Like I know this skier that we were just watching was doing short radius, basic parallels, right? And she was doing them at a little bit higher speed. So it wasn't quite a performance turn, but it wasn't quite a basic parallel either, right?
Hmm.
And I'm looking at it, I'm going, okay, so what would change? How would the skiing change if I change something? And that's how I look at it. All right. Then the very first fundamental I'm going to look at is going to be pressure management. I am a
Really.
rotationally biased guy. You would think I'd go right to rotation. I don't
Okay.
anymore. I go straight to pressure management. Where is all the pressure happening? Highest edge
Okay.
angles, fastest rotation. Where do the legs flex and extend? All the fundamentals are blended into the pressure management, into regulating the magnitude of pressure, right?
Yeah. Ski snow
To
interaction.
create
Okay.
ski snow interaction. So that idea of grip, where does the ski grip, is based on all those fundamentals blending together into the regulating the magnitude of pressure.
Okay. Okay.
And I think most people really get confused when they hear magnitude of pressure. They think it's pressure related. It's not. The number one line in the technical manual is the fastest way to regulate pressure is through edging and rotational skills.
Yes. Yes.
it's
That's
it's
true.
the very first line when you read it in the technical manual. It's very irritating. I can't believe how much they're right. And what I like to, how I can have my eureka moment on the pressure management and really understanding is how does it work with a hockey stop, right? Because we have to turn our high skis sideways and we have to put them on edge. And then how much edge and how much we rotate against the direction of travel is how pressure is created. If we want to get rid of it, we're going to turn our skis less on edge and more with our direction of travel. And that's going to relieve the amount of pressure. So that's how we regulate pressure. And how they look in a
Okay.
turn is how I'm looking at that. Where is all the things happening? So where is the highest edge angles? Where did the skis turn the most? When do they stop turning? How does that pressure affect their ability to align over the outside ski? All of those things are related. Then I might toss in some of those. I'll look at the common threads as
Hmm.
maybe a way that I can kind of narrow down a teach. But by that time, I should have a pretty good idea of what's happening. And when I watch this skier, Jess here, when I'm watching Jess come down the hill, I'm thinking to myself, there's two things that are happening here. A, she's not angulating enough in the lower legs to create some edging higher so she can get grip. And then kind of back to what Mike was talking about, there is a banking issue that is happening here too. And that's why I was asking, what is the visual representation of banking in the ski performance realm? We usually see the inside ski start to engage or grip earlier than the outside ski, which means it's going to take a different path. And that's what's happening here. Notice that the outside ski is going one direction and the inside ski starting to move in a new direction earlier than the outside ski. That tells me she's banking. And banking is a very good indication of being square.
And banking, not inclining.
Banking is inclining,
It
but
is.
banking is
Okay.
a foot to foot, ski to ski outcome, and inclining is an edging outcome.
And in typical Eastern conditions,
Yeah.
her outside ski would go in a completely different direction than that inside ski.
Yeah. She's a pretty skilled skier, right?
Yes.
So we
Yep.
shouldn't be really technically seeing that, but we do.
Yeah.
And she does a pretty good job of managing the inside ski because she has a long leg, short leg relationship that a lot of people don't have.
Hmm.
But because of that rotational and lack of rotational and lateral separation, she can't really direct pressure to the outside ski as efficiently as she should. That's the overall picture that I see. Now I can break it down into a fundamental. I'm watching a skier that's coming down a blue slope, and I want to talk about her edging. And what I'm seeing at the initiation is that the the skis are fairly flat at the top of the turn, but very quickly get on edge, and the edging is coming from an inclination while she tips her body to the inside of the turn. At shaping phase, the skis are pretty much on the highest edge angles there and after the apex of the turn towards the end of the shaping phase. And then the highest edge angles are still remaining at the end of the turn. And then it quickly moves from one side to the other. Ideally, and it's kind of rinse and repeat. There is a difference between one side and the other. She creates a little bit more angles on her left-handed turns, but she's very, very square on her right-handed turns. And the angulation that I am seeing on her left-hand turns, on her right-footed turns, is primarily coming from her hips. and not from her lower legs. She doesn't really engage the lower legs and ankles at any point in the turns. Ideally, what I'd like to see is I'd like to see some lower leg and ankle tipping transitioning through the from one turn into the next. Right now, it's kind of here and then it goes right to here. I'd like to see this happening, and it should happen starting in the ankles and moving up to the shin bones. And then I'd like to see continuous, then after I'd like to see continuous lower leg tipping, then an inclination to the inside as she seeks to grip onto the outside of the skis, outside ski. And then I'd like to see as she at highest edge angle should be again at apex and slightly after apex. And then right as soon as she gets to slightly after apex, I need to see the skis start to flatten again as she starts to transition to the next turn. Right now, it's a real quick move. I'd like to see that slowed down. But it has to start with the ankles and knees. It can't start with the upper body metronoming from one side to the other, because that's just too slow. So that was from a high level down to the low level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
tried to do it from the 10,000 foot. That was the what moves first, the offensive, defensive, and what are their intent. Translate that down into maybe we look at some. We would look at some of the common threads, and the two that I'd be really, really focusing on is upper body stability creates lower body mobility, and that idea of flexion and extension movements help move the center of mass laterally, because she's not doing that.
Okay.
And then if I wanted to do a task, I mean, the first thing that would probably come to my mind is how well could she do either a skate drill or outside ski turns? And because she's a level 3 candidate working on her RMT, I'm sorry, javelins are on the plate. And probably going to be a reverse javelin. So that we can really emphasize the transition part and that separation.
Why did I know you were going to say that?
Because I'm mean.
You're using the javelin turn to induce rotation in the upper body.
I'm using the javelin turn to get separation between the upper and lower body. So that the ski would have to be pointed, one ski would have to be pointed this way and the other one would have to align. So reverse javelin is, javelin is when we tip one ski and go over the top of the other ski. We ski one ski underneath the other. Reverse javelin is where we are at the transition. We have to be here and we lift up the inside ski and align it to our hip, right? So technically our bodies would be pointed this way, but as soon as I lift up the inside ski, I allow it to align. And then I allow the outside ski to come and meet the inside ski and become parallel around apex. Does that make sense, Mike?
Not really.
Okay.
Well, here's what it makes me think of, and let me know if I got this right. A javelin turn, I'm lifting that ski and I'm turning it kind of over the other ski to point downhill, right? So a reverse javelin, I'm turning it the other way.
Yes.
Okay. Like opening my hips.
Let's see if Harb has got a decent javelin turn. That's a javelin turn. That's a little over the top. Right?
Okay.
But the idea is that notice that the ski is pointed one direction and the body is pointed down the hill.
Yeah.
That's a javelin turn. The reverse javelin is actually the opposite. He's doing that at the end of the turn.
Hmm.
Reverse javelin is where you're opening up at the top of the turn. And if you give me a second, I could go to the matrix. Because matrix actually has a really good. Uh, ah, well, that's not going to work either. Type better. Here we go. Matrix. All right, I'm going to have to. Matrix. Come on. Where are you at? Where's the link? Give me a link.
It's so hard to find it on this stupid
It's
website.
so irritating that you have to log in.
Yeah.
I'm okay
Hmm.
with the log in, but there should be a link to Matrix once you're logged in.
It should be easier than this, right? I
Yeah.
don't understand why
Yes,
they got to make it so
totally.
freaking difficult. And you know what? The worst thing is, I got to go to, no, Jesus, up here in education, isn't it? Matrix videos. And then I'm going to have to
There it
log
is.
in again. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, boy.
I thought it was just me, so thank you.
No, it's just bleh. I hate it. I'm, and the videos aren't always that good. So,
Mm.
all right, reverse javelins. They actually have some good reverse javelins here. All right, bam. Oops, that was a little too much. Let's go to YouTube. Here we go. You guys see it at all?
Yep.
All right, so the idea is that when he gets to here, puts the ski down, and then watch how the inside ski tips to the inside and turns to the inside. And these are not great. This guy is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God, shut up. All right, see how he lifted up the ski, and
Right.
before he's tipped and turned, he's actually turned the inside ski to the inside of the turn,
Yeah.
Right.
right? And it's actually aligned. See how the inside ski is aligned to his upper body, but the
Right.
outside ski's turned to the outside. That's going
Yep.
to promote what she needs, which is that upper and lower body separation.
Okay.
Forces her to see it and feel it. He's really good about it. I love it because look at that. I mean, he's like really aligned.
It goes from a reverse javelin to a javelin.
You can go from a reverse javelin to a javelin. In her case, I don't think that would be entirely bad. I don't like this is Jessica Simpson, and I don't like these because these look contrived. And she doesn't always hold on to them, but but
I've
there's
tried them. I
another one.
can't hold on to them.
Yeah, they're not easy, you know. You have to you
Oh, I
kind of
see
have
that.
to
Yeah.
kind of tip up the hill to do them. And it's a contrived movement, but it does a really nice job of trying to get you to do what you need to do. So, all right, cool. I don't want to beat this up. So that's what I prescribe for her. With emphasis on that lower leg tipping. All right, you wanted bumps. Who wanted bumps? It's already 11:15 or
Ralph.
8:15. All right, here's our bump skier. Overall picture, what do you guys see? Ugh. Let me stick him in the chat. It's not bad skiing, is it? I know bumps suck, don't they? They're hard to watch. They're hard to see. It's hard to analyze. I get it. What are the things that really stand out?
It's very flexed.
Very flexed, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's rotating those lower legs. There is a lot of lower leg angulation. But that
There is a
doesn't make
lot of lower
sense to
leg
me.
angulation. There's a lot of leg turning, isn't there?
So let me ask you a question. I thought
Yeah.
lower leg angulation was about edging, and in the bumps, you don't usually have a lot of edging. So I just caught myself saying something that contradicts in my brain.
Cool. I like that. Contradictions is how we learn, right? So let me ask you this, Jerry Ann. Is lower leg tipping about how we get our skis on to edge, or is it how we manipulate the skis throughout the edge? And that's a loaded
Ah,
question, by the way,
yeah, I
because
remember there
bumps it's
was.
different.
Okay.
Bumps we don't want to get on edge a whole lot, do we?
No,
What do we got to do?
got to rotate. Rotate the
We got to
legs.
rotate, but we can't rotate on an edge ski. So what do we got to do?
Pivot.
We got to figure out how to get the ski off of edge.
Ah, okay.
Ah, and that's what he does really well, right? He's figured out how to tip his lower legs down the hill to get them off of edge. It's not
Ah,
always successful, but it's pretty good. So, what are some things he's doing really well? Let's talk this from a different angle.
Well, he was definitely staying level and letting his legs absorb bumps.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. Those bumps look awesome, don't they? And he's staying in the fall line. I see good upper and lower body separation, both rotationally and laterally. Granted, he's skiing in little powdery bumps, and sometimes he might be waiting for something that it might not happen, or maybe something's happening that he's not ready for. Patty, you came off mute. There must be a reason why.
Yeah, he's managing his speed well.
He's doing a good job of managing speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty good skiing, isn't it?
I feel like if you put a level on his head, it wouldn't move up and down very much. He's very,
No, he's
very
got great
consistent.
flexion. He's doing a really nice job of absorbing and flexing, right? He's not going up that
Yeah.
much. So now we're starting to talk about nuances, right? We're really looking at little stuff like the timing or the duration or the intensity of the movement or the rate that it's happening, how fast, how slow it's happening. You know, all those things that are undeterred, right? You know, the stuff that makes our lives colorful.
Could
That
he
looks
be a
to me
little
like
more forward?
I mean, we don't want to
complete
get
separation of the upper body from the legs.
he is he's pretty flexed as it is. I don't think I'd like to see him more forward because what does that mean by more forward? Does that mean more bending at the waist? You're going to have to be pretty specific, Todd, because it sounds
Oh,
like you're searching for more of an ideal.
if his knees opened up just a little bit more, not a whole lot, but if his knees opened up just a little more.
Cool. What's that going to give him? How's that going to change what he does?
I mean, what I'm looking at right now, he's sitting almost like he's getting ready to sit down as he's coming down, and if his knees would open up a little bit, it would put him a little more on top, and uh, his center mass would be more on the center of the skis.
Sure. When? Because remember, we got like very distinct phases in the bumps that require different movements. So overall,
Right.
you'd like to see a little bit more knee extension.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I think it's the extensions. I mean, if we just got up a little bit, he wouldn't necessarily be leaning more forward, but it would get him uh, where he's not where he's not looking like he's getting ready to sit down.
Cool. Okay. I can get behind that. What do you guys think? I'm looking for a reason why and what the performance might change if we did that. How would the performance change? I know that's the hard part, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's use a reference. You boobs. And I want Richie Burger. Bumps. You know, the good thing about Richie is that he's really, really good at bumps. So here's a reference. So how is Richie skiing differently than the other guy is? Other than the fact that these bumps are really, really round.
His legs are extending and retracting.
Cool. There we go. Now we're on to something. So what are we noticing about this guy? Do his legs retract and extend?
Underneath him.
Yeah, well, they do.
They do, but how much in relation to like Richie? Because Richie really flexes and extends. And this guy's he's a little bit different. And it's all right if you don't see the differences, right? I mean, I'm not
I
gonna
see
pin you
this.
down.
Well,
I see this guy almost throwing his heels out as opposed to his whole leg extending.
Yeah. Actually, honestly, there's not a lot of this, is there? It's all tipping and turning. It's all happening from a tipping and turning perspective. It's good skiing, don't get me wrong. I mean,
Right.
I admire this guy's skiing. It's good skiing. But there's not a whole lot of there's not a lot of flexion and extension. And what happens is it causes these kind of pressure spikes to happen, right? And so it's like a lot of pressure spiking happening at the end of the turn, where I would like to see a little bit more flexion. And then at the beginning of the turn, I'd like to see a little bit more extension so he can get grip earlier. Because I see the tips coming up a lot. And I think that's what Todd is referring to. And then when I watch Richie, watch how the feet in relation to the body move back and forth. Now it's underneath him. Now it's more in front of him. Now it's underneath him again. And now it's moving to the front. And it's a constant this.
He's also getting greater edge angles.
And well, he creates greater edge angles because he allows his skis to come back underneath him. When we watch Neely here, the skis don't really move underneath him. They get out in front of him and stay out there.
Right.
Now, he's a skilled enough skier. He's still getting tipping and turning to happen. But if he was able to pull those skis back underneath him just a little bit so he could get more tipping and edging early and manage those pressures, the tips would never leave the snow. Because one of the things about Richie, you're watching Richie, do his tips ever leave the snow?
Not really, no.
No. He's really, really good at pulling those legs back so he can get the tips down. So the timing of that, I think, needs to happen sooner. And more. So in a way, Todd, you're right. I'd like to see a little bit more higher or more extension at the knees, but I want to see it in the turn, not at the top of the turn. You know what I mean? I want
Yeah.
him to extend out this way, but I need him flexed here. And I want to see more flexion here and less flexion out there so that he can move in. He's doing it a little bit. I'd like to see a whole lot more. But I
Is
got to get those
is
feet moving back and forth this way.
is the first guy on a steeper slope than the other guy?
Not really. No,
Okay.
no.
It's just thicker snow here then.
Yeah, I mean, Richie's on slushy snow, right? Which makes it,
It's
I
an
think
entirely
slushy
different.
bumps are the greatest things in the world. I even had one of my trainer friends go, man, I take it back. Powdery bumps are awesome, but slushy bumps are the best. But there's a lot of flexion extension that's happening there that's not happening with Neil. His legs stay pretty much the same length most of the time.
So, what would you prescribe for this guy? Like dolphin turns?
Dolphin turns would be a good thing to do. It might be a thought, right? I might tell him to slow his feet down at the top of the turn. Can you get your feet to slow down at the top so that the body overtakes it? Or just pull your feet back at the beginning of every turn. But dolphin turns are very, very good drills too. They're just very, very physical. And the other thing I would like to talk to him about is I like how he uses a rotation, but it's happening late in the turn. Can we get it to happen earlier in the turn? And part of that is because the skis aren't engaged until later because he doesn't have the skis underneath him that allows him to engage the skis to get the skis to grip. And we're talking about this much. It's not like our normal clients, which, they might go like the last person, 2 or 3 ski lengths before they finally get a ski engaged. This one, this is a good skier. Mike, what would you do? Not Mike Thorpe, Mike Pante, since he decided to show up at the last second.
I've been here a while. I've been
Oh, have you?
listening.
You listen to me just ramble on.
That's right. I was just feeding you a lot of rope. No, I agree with a lot of what's being said. I would probably word it differently.
Sure.
I guess Neil, the person in the blue coat, overall, never really closes their ankles. As a result, the tips, as you were saying, is floats an awful lot. And at the finish of a turn into initiation, they're trying to get the tips of the skis into the snow, but they're not doing it by closing the ankles. They're doing it by clamshelling at the waist,
Yep.
trying to drive the shoulders forward, but it never gets them far enough forward to get the tips of the skis in the snow. This is where um, um, was it Todd was saying he would like to have them open their ankles a little bit more,
No,
or
he was
open their
talking
knees
about
a little
opening his
bit
knees
more
up.
so they can
Yeah.
actually close their ankles a little bit.
I think he was on
And
the
if
right track. I think he's over flexed a lot.
and if you would actually, as you were saying, pull his feet under him at initiation so that he's actually standing on both skis, he would have the ability to pivot the skis under him earlier in the turn versus later in the turn where he's thrusting the heels out of the way because he's so far back he needs the momentum to get those skis moving. So again, this is a timing issue. Can he get his feet under his body at the initiation of the turn so that he's stacked over the skis and delay the extension until he's actually tipped the skis and started into the trough or pivoted the skis and started into the trough and then do the extension late. Because right now, where Neil's extension happens is it's at the back side of the bump, and when he extends, it actually forces the skis to jet over the bump, and he can never catch up with the tip of the skis to engage to pull him into the new turn. So he's got to get a little speed so he can thrust the heels out to the side.
Yeah, because it's powdery, right? I think this is well said. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Questions. It's 8:30.
It's 7:30.
It's 8:30.
It's 9:30.
It's 9:30 for almost
9:30.
everybody else.
Way
Now,
past.
if you know when I said Neil is clamshelling at the waist, look at about second 8.
Yeah, he gets
Yeah.
to that spot. That's the point I was
Big
looking
shot.
at. Where the skis are not even on the snow here. They're right there.
Yeah, look how he's clamshelling at the waist. He's trying to get forward, but if he would open the knees and flex the ankles to drive those tips into the snow, he'd be able to rotate cleaner and earlier in the turn because he'd be standing in the middle of the skis.
Yeah. Which is what unfortunately Richie Berger is really good at.
Mm-hmm. So you're watching Richie. There's spots where he's back, but at the same time, you watch where he closes the ankles and he gets his body over his feet, or he pulls his feet under his body, which closes his ankles. So you're seeing him use the whole length of the ski. You see Richie use the whole length of the ski, where Neil uses from the heel back. He never really engages the tips.
Got it. Cool.
Cool.
Hey Chuck, before we end, when you went around and were asking what are our goals, what we want to work on, I would add
Yeah.
one more thing there. Dynamic skiing. Something my mentor kept telling me this winter was level 3 is dynamic skiing. That's what they want to see, and I'm like, how do I get
Ski
that?
better.
What is that? I know, but what is that like when we're like Richie Berger? That's probably dynamic skiing,
It's pretty dynamic skiing, yeah. Yeah.
right? But the other guy not so
So,
much. So
that's gonna be a question I'm gonna try to answer this summer. Because what the hell does dynamic mean? Right?
exactly.
Because I think a lot of people don't understand what that is. Yeah, I think it's a combination of athleticism and allowing the skis to move and go. Oh,
That's
Frankie Zampini, man,
and
is Frankie Zampini's famous thing for me is, hey, Chuck, what kind of sport is this? We go down the
moving.
freaking hill. So, yeah, and dynamism comes from that, moving down the hill. We want to move down the hill. But there is a certain amount of athleticism that has to happen. And frankly, we can't be afraid to go faster. And
And
fear
what
plays a
gets
lot of this, doesn't it? I mean, it
right,
does for me.
right.
Right.
And the biomechanic part, what gets in the way or what impedes our ability to be dynamic in
A
skiing?
lot of
That
stiffness.
believe
Yeah.
it or not, it may not be a physical thing. It's predominantly an affective thing.
Yeah.
what do you
It's
mm, what do you
mentally that keeps us, most of us, from being more dynamic.
fear? Like I'm
It's
not the
it's
Fear.
only one?
basically a type of fear.
It is fear.
I'm not the only one. Cool.
No.
So if you
Right.
can learn to ask yourself, your inner voice, logical and black and white questions for your ability level and the terrain in that you're on versus letting yourself just react to the terrain, your level of dynamicism will jump up. So an example would be most of us say we get to the top of a bump run and we're looking here and we're trying to find a track through the bumps. We're sitting here, okay, I'm going to use this track through the bump and I'm going to do this, and we take off. That sets us up for failure because the decisions and the questions we asked ourselves were not appropriate for the terrain. Had we been at the top of the terrain and we looked down at it and we asked ourselves, okay, what type of turn can I make here? And we answer, I need to make my turns more pivot slip like. And once I get my pivot slips moving, then tell myself, okay, I'm going to control the rate of rotation of my pivot slips and make them more rounded.
Yep.
So I have now chosen a different mindset to go down this bump run. I'm no longer reactionary. I now have a very specific goal within my suite of movements.
So I got another anecdote for you, Jerry Ann.
Okay.
And I laugh about this because when I went for my RMT entrance this year, one of my examiners ended up being Jim Shaw. And we were at Aspen Highlands, which means we were going to have to go do Sodbuster, right? And if you don't know what Sodbuster is, think of the steepest, gnarliest, narrowest, bump run you can think of, right? And we had gotten 6 or 8 inches of snow overnight, and it was actually really, really good conditions for this year, right? Which was kind of unusual. But we didn't know what we were getting into. We didn't know what the snow was going to be like. We didn't know any of that. So all 8 of us or 9 of us went down into this thing. And of course, I followed Jim Shaw going into it. And I'm watching Jim Shaw make the first 2 or 3 turns, and I got scared. Right? Because this is not only my trainer, but my examiner, right? And
Yeah.
he's struggling in this thing. And I'm thinking,
Oh
well,
my
if he's
god.
struggling in it, what the hell am I going to look like? Right?
Right, right, right.
And we get freaked out by that kind of stuff. So fear is always there. I stand at the top of a bump run and I go, is this going to be the one that kills me today?
Okay.
almost every time. It's hilarious. I'm like, I don't want to embarrass myself, but I got these kids that are going to go do. We got to go do Frenchmen. We got to go do or die trees. We got to go do something. And yeah, I don't want to look like a fool, and I might fall, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that's the kind of mindset that we got to put ourselves in to become more dynamic. Now, the granted, coming from a race culture, coming from a race background, I like to go fast. So it's very easy for me to kind of add that dynamism in. Not everybody is keen to go 45 and 50 miles an hour. I get
Yeah,
it.
not me.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I 100%. But we have to kind of, when we get to that level three trainer level, we have to kind of let go ourselves a little bit. We have to have the faith that we have the skill to be able to do it. And that's that dynamism that needs to be added in, that athleticism that says, yes, I might feel like I'm slightly out of control, that edging piece, I'm right on the edge of failing, but I'm not going to fail because I made a decision not to fail. That's where that dynamism comes from. The recovery plus what you got to do to get into it. So yeah, yeah. And the opposite side is we do basic parallels, we do wedge turns, we do wedge Christies, right? Those are not athletic, very athletic turns. We're not making, high speed wedge turns, right? So the dynamism that's being involved there is not the same as what we're doing in dynamic short radius or dynamic performance or dynamic medium radius turns or even long radius turns. We're looking for speed and we're looking for that athleticism.
But
So
it
oh,
is a thing in your bag of tricks that when you look down that bump field and you're looking at those first few dents and say, holy shit, it is okay to say, how can I get down this safely? And tell yourself, my first three turns are going to be a stem or wedge Christie to feel the snow and
yes,
feel what the top of the uphill part of the bump is like, because I know that's where I will have the best speed control.
that was
And
great.
make that deliberate decision at the start.
Yeah, that
And
was great.
that will allow you to relax to increase your dynamic flow.
That was great
Okay.
advice that I got from Jonathan Blue in a level three exam is, hey, sometimes you might wedge in a turn into bumps. That's okay because I do too.
Smart
Right?
people avoid bumps.
Yeah. But remember, wedges are great tools, they're great tactics, and they're very effective in the bumps too. Matter of fact, I'll teach people to do bumps in a wedge turn. They don't like it, but it's very effective because it teaches you how to get grip.
And I'll work with instructors and we'll go out in intermediate and steeper terrain and we will work wedge turns,
Yeah.
high speed wedge turns.
High speed, short radius performance wedge turns.
Yep, they're awesome.
They work great. So, all right. I
So, Chuck,
am done for the
I
evening. We will meet next week because we'll have some folks coming back from National Academy. I want to have them go ahead and share their experiences. Um, I know that not everybody here is a level three person. There's also an opportunity for Interski next year, at least to see the demos and watch the opening ceremonies and things like that at Vail next year. I don't know if you saw that, Mike. I did sign up for the on snow and in-house indoor
yeah, I
presentation.
signed up for everything. I'm on the wait list.
You're on the wait list. Yeah. They only had 300 spots and they went
Yep.
like wildfire.
So they went pretty quick because when I got the notification, I signed up and I was already waitlisted.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I mean, that's a springboard next year for National Academy, and I plan on attending National Academy next year also. So, because it's good for you. So, anything last? Anybody got anything last? We're gonna have we'll have our last meeting of the year of the ski year this year next week, and again, let those folks talk about their experiences, and then we'll break again until probably around the middle of June, and I'll let you guys know when that's going to happen.
Yeah,
But
I would throw a suggestion or two out as
yeah,
being kind of a guest face for many of these things. And you can tell me I'm full of it, it's okay.
we already know you are.
But instead of jumping in and doing MA and coming up with variations of MA, well, like what would you correct and why would you correct it later?
Mhm.
I would suggest that perhaps we as a group look at the technical foundations and relate that to biomechanics and relate that to the fundamentals before we even begin to look at MAs or prescriptions for change or anything
Cool.
else.
Do you have the
And my reason
slides?
for saying that is I just hear a lot of people throwing things out. This is what I would do to fix it. This is what I
Right,
would
right.
do. But when I grilled them or Chuck grilled them, well, I don't exactly know why I would do that. I just know that if I do this, it seems to get good results, but they don't really know why they're getting results from it.
So, do you have the technical foundations slides?
I've got the original technical foundation slides. I can see if I can get a more recent copy, but I
Um,
can definitely do the technical. I've
I
definitely
think that
got
would
all the
be
slides in that from the original, but
I think
that
that would be a
original,
great idea.
the Bob Barnes original, has been updated, but still it's still the current version is still based on the Bob Barnes version.
Sure. I would
So even
encourage
if
you
we
to go
use
ahead
the
and
Bob Barnes version, that
I
that
would
gives us a starting point.
I would encourage you to go ahead and put together a presentation sometime this summer, and I'll give you the floor and let you do that.
Well, it depends on how we want to do that. And the reason I put that out is we didn't have it this year,
Right.
but normally here in Rocky Mountain, there's a technical foundations that is in October. And
Yes.
historically, it's been 2 days.
Yes.
The last one I did, I think it was last season, Wilchin ran it, and it was only a 1 day clinic.
Okay.
And I had to write up a review of the clinic. And my review had some positives, but it had a lot of negatives because it didn't align with what was stated in the descriptors. And Wilchin went through it, totally agreed with me, and then he told me and he just flat out said, send this in to Dave Gregory and tell him that the two of us had talked and we need to fix this.
Yep. Yep.
So
Let's
that
go ahead
scared the
and
hell out of me.
let's go ahead and set up some time. I want to do a lot of that. I know there were some Jerry Ann actually had a really nice suggestion on a biomechanical piece that I'm pretty sure I could put something together for too. I do want to try to put together some kind of get together next year too. I don't know what that'll look like or how big it'll be or anything along those lines. I do have some plans for this summer that I think would be important too. I have not decided whether I want to do this every week or every other week until like September-ish. I will let you guys know all that when it all happens, but I'm probably going to be, getting with Dion, getting with Mike, getting with some other of the trainers too, and coming up with some different ways, kind of like we did earlier this year, where we kind of addressed the MA, the tactics, the tasks in different ways. and had you have to kind of identify different pieces so that it will break it down. So there might be a day where we might just talk to nothing about uh, just talk about ski performance, right? And how that would change. Because yeah, I think that's important. So all right, cool.
So
Questions?
anyway, I guess the question I wanted to throw out there is on the technical foundations and that, how many hours do we want to spend?
Just an hour and a half. Broad
Multiple
strokes.
days?
Huh? We could do
Multiple
it.
days?
We could do a full day. We could not a full day, but like
I
no, a
mean, it
couple
may take 4 or 5 sessions to get through it all.
we could intersperse it with other stuff.
Yep.
So we could make a summer of that. You gotta think of it this way, Mike. There's only like 12 sessions all summer. 12. That's like none. Right? Because I've only got like 2 or 3 in June, July, August, and September. And there's holidays and all that stuff in there. So there's some weekends we can't meet.
So that's 18 hours. So
Yeah, I mean it's really not that much time. So yeah, I mean we could intersperse it with the other stuff too. But if we could kind of condense it a little bit, we can talk about this off. We can talk about this off camera too.
yeah.
So, but I think it's a good idea. I think it would be useful. Talk about the physics and things like that. Cool. Anybody got any other questions? It's already almost 9 o'clock. So
Yep. And I was thinking, based on the little discussion we had on effective learning,
yeah,
that might be something. Are we in a growth mindset or not?
we are supposed to be in a growth mindset. I think that's the
We
reason
may
why
want
most
to
people are
spend a
here.
little time understanding that and how it affects, how our gray matter affects how we learn.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, we touched bases on it tonight already, and then you took over and corrected me, so thank you.
I don't try to correct anybody. I try to give everybody as much space as I can. Yeah, I think that's important too. We could talk about that. Yeah, cool. Actually, yeah, we might talk about several things. We might go into people skills and all that stuff too. So, yeah.
And you have my permission to correct me.
Oh, that's fine. All right. Any other questions? Anybody got anything else? We'll see you all next week,
Oh,
and then
thank
we're
you.
going to take like a 4 to 6 month week break. All right.
Gotcha.
And we're all going to get supercharged and get ready for next year because I heard from somebody that we're supposed to have 201 inches by November the 1st.
Of bullshit?
No, 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 no. I heard it's true. I heard it's true.
It's got to be stored up somewhere. They got to let
It's
it go.
it's coming, Mike. You just don't know it yet.
How come Jerry Ann is located in some dingy basement somewhere?
Just tonight.